Here's the thing, you're a stripper. You are dancing for money. It doesn't just go into your bank account. It actually counts against your soul. A man who stands in his power is infinitely valuable. My offering to you is this. I'm in a client conversation the other day, and the client is talking to me about his dissatisfaction with his business. Not the first time I've heard a conversation like this, but I'm listening to it with fresh set of ears because it feels very just, like an important conversation that we need to have. And I'm excited about having a conversation because I love having a conversations about business, because usually for me, conversations about business are less about strategy and more about the man. Here's a context for you to understand. Regardless of whether it's business or family or marriage or relationships or kids or fitness, things don't change. Men change things. Things don't change. Men change things. So if you want something to change, the thing won't change. The man will change it. All right. So it's usually a man-focused conversation. Who are you being? Who are you not being? And an exploration about what it is that you stand for. So we're having a conversation about his business, and he's telling me about his business, and he's saying, "Yeah, I feel very dissatisfied in my business." And I said, "Tell me a little bit more about your business." And so he's telling me more about how he was at the top of his field in the category in the work that he does in internet marketing. Top of his field, he created this really powerful system. And it was a really powerful system. And the system was so powerful that it could take a low-level brand and it could elevate a low-level brand to the top of any category. And I was like, that's really powerful. Take a low-level brand, elevate it to the top of any category. I was like, that's really powerful in the internet marketing space. And so here's the thing. So I heard that. I said, well, where's the dissatisfaction coming in? And it was like, well, I don't really like the clients I'm working with. Some of the clients I'm working with, I don't really feel that they are really the types of clients that I want to work with. They're not really the types of clients that really light me up. I said, why are they not the type of clients that light you up? Because, for me, they're not in alignment. So when it comes to going all in, all stands for alignment. The IN stands for integrity. Again, quick aside. Everyone who says that integrity means doing what you do in the light and the dark, that's not an effective definition of integrity, by the way. Integrity means one thing. It means honoring your word. That's it. It just means honoring your word. Are you a man that honors his word? Integrity. And alignment is when your beliefs, actions, and your values, when they align, when they are congruent with your behaviors. When your beliefs, actions, and your values align with your behaviors, the way that you behave, that's congruency. That's the light and the dark component. So what I think a lot of people misconstrue for integrity is actually alignment. So that being said, alignment and integrity, those are the two aspects of any high-performing individual or organization. Alignment and integrity, those are critical components. So when you're going all in, when you're committing to be a man who's in alignment and a man who honors his word. Back to my client. So we're having a conversation about his business. What the clients extend into the world don't align with his values. Meaning what they're offering to the world doesn't align with his values. And as I'm listening to it, I was like, I think I just understood what was actually happening. And it's a very similar thing for many men across the board. Is that when you are, he said, what do you mean? What do you think it is? I said, dude, you're a stripper. He's like, I'm a stripper. I said, yeah, you're a stripper. You're dancing for money. You are dancing for money. He's like, what? What you mean I'm a stripper? I said, yeah, dude, you're a stripper. Nothing to denigrate a woman who strips, but I'm just saying that's what you're doing. And I have this sneaking suspicion that whatever money is not putting you through college. Here's the idea. The idea is this, is that if you are bringing on clients that don't align with your value system, If you're bringing in clients that don't align with your value system, if you're bringing in clients that don't align with the man that you want to be, if they are not the types of individuals that you want to work with, that carry the vibrational frequency or the resonance associated with the way you want to show up in the world, then you, my brother, are dancing for money. And the reason that I know it so well is because I used to be a stripper. For a man who was moving into his masculine essence, into being a protector and a provider, you're just trying to figure out how to effectively do it. You're like, how do I put money on the table? How do I provide for my family? How do I give to my kids? How do I give them the things that they need so that we can be secure and safe? And you got your kids barking at you, trying to figure out what the next box of cereal is. You got the dogs asking for the next bowl of food. You got the cats, and I don't even know how many cats you got. We got 3 cats. If you got, my personal belief on cats is that if you have 1 cat, it's a pet. If you have 2 or more cats, it's a mistake. We have 3, so you can just figure out from there. And you got cats, and you got your wife is like, hey, look, we got to get the kids bowl of cereal. We got to get the cats dog animal food, and then we got to figure out how to replace all of the appliances and everything. And it's a lot of pressure associated with it. And in your mind, and many guys' minds, especially guys who run a business it's like, look, I just need to figure out how I can how I can get money in the bank. But then at a certain point, you hit the place where you realize that things are out of alignment. That something just ain't right about the way that you make the money that you make. Something is just not resonating with that frequency. Something just not right about working with clients that don't stand for something. And the reason why I say I used to be a stripper is because I used to be a guy that did not know what he stood for. See, people think that the whole business thing is about the service offering. They're not buying your service, sir. They're buying your standards of excellence. That is what they are purchasing. So if you don't know what your standards are enough to differentiate or divide or sever yourself away from people who don't carry the vibrational frequency that you need from the clients that you work with, then what's happening is that you end up dancing for the money. You just end up dancing for dollars. And listen, that is a viable career field. That's a viable career trajectory. If you want to put on heels and you want to be a guy who hops on a pole and who dances for money because that's going to be the way you get through school, I hear you. Some people see that as a viable trajectory. My offering to you is that I don't. I believe that you can stand with a certain level of standards and principles so that you don't have to operate at the cost of your soul. What you don't understand is that the money that you take has a frequency to it. And when you take money from a certain type of individual, because of the fact that you're just doing it for the money, it doesn't just go into your bank account. It actually counts against your soul. So what you don't understand is that it's actually taking away soul points. It's stripping you of your honor. It's stripping you of your decency. So the opportunity that you get to identify in this moment, as I'm going back to my client, because I want you to understand this is not about your business. I know you think we're having a conversation about your business, but we're not talking about your business. We're talking about the man that you want to be. And so my idea is that if you're dancing for money here, then there may be a possibility that you're dancing for money at home too. Because here's the thing, if you're buying your kids' love, that's also dancing for money. If you're buying your wife's love, that's also dancing for money. If you are buying things to avoid confronting the things that need to be confronted, that is also dancing for money. How much dancing can you do? And this is not Dancing with the Stars. This is not, whatever the who got the Fox version. This is not a dancing show. This is not one of those shows where you actually get points for dancing. Who do you want to be? So my offering is that you don't need to dance, you need to stand. Your feet firmly planted in the ground. Know what your values are. Know what the work is that you do. Understand your value. Understand the vibrational frequency that you want to issue into the world, because that's the work. As a result of understanding that, you can attract whoever you want to attract. You can demand whatever fee that you want to demand as a result of standing in that vibrational frequency. And I just want to say this, in a space of AI where everybody feels like they're rushing, trying to get the next thing, trying to get the next client, trying to get the next stuff, and everybody's rushing because they're like, I need to do this, and I need to do that, and I need to go here, and I need to bend over here, and bend over this way, and bend over that way, and bend over this way. Then all of a sudden you start bending over, and you're like, oh, I'm bent, and I'm bending over backwards to make money, but I'm actually not standing in my power. A man who stands in his power is infinitely valuable. I said, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And then his mouth was open. And then he goes, damn. I said, what's that? He said, this is deeper than I thought it was. He said, can you help me figure this out? I was like, that's why I'm here. And the reason that I'm able to help you figure it out is because I had men who stood for my excellence and my greatness in a moment where I didn't even know how to avoid dancing for money. My offering to you is this. Money doesn't make the man makes the money. Things don't change. Men change things. Now the question is, who is the man that you are deciding to be? It's not what you're planning to do. It's who is the man that you're deciding to be. Because the man that you decide to be informs the actions that he takes. And then from there, anything. But a man that stands firmly, 10 toes down on his values and his principles and his standards can create any ripple effect that he wants to create in the world. Question is are you being the man that you were called to be? Or are you dancing for money? You decide.